The $1,000,000 question, literally, is how you save on divorce. In an ever-changing landscape where we seem to be having layoffs across the board, where we seem to be having an economy that is stock market's up, job market's down, inflation is sky high, mortgage interest rates are not leveling off that much. How then, if you need a divorce, can you afford a divorce? If you make a certain amount of income, an expenditure of thousands of dollars could be quite punitive to you. Now, you might actually need to spend that money because you might be going through a harsh situation where the outcome of who gets how much of the house, who gets how much of retirement accounts, who keeps which bank accounts, who will be stuck with certain debts, all of these things can be overwhelming, and the totality of your case might be very large, especially if it involves child custody. Presumptively, Florida is a 50-50 state. That does not mean that people are not going to fight for a different outcome. Having an attorney that is thorough, having an attorney that investigates everything, having an attorney that pays attention to all of the details of your case and will go to any hearing or trial as prepared as is humanly possible, with experience and knowledge and good technique, is of vital importance. How can you try to circumvent all of that? How can you manage a divorce so that we might not have an infinite amount of retainer after retainer, additional fee after additional fee? Well, that may be part of the process, and that is baked into the cake of a contested divorce that does not end early. But we offer people, if it's possible, if they believe that their spouse believes it is possible, if they've had any discussions about these things, that is where the uncontested divorce can be something of great value to you. You do not need 2 attorneys. You need 1 attorney to draft your documents. After drafting your documents, both sides can confer with each other, make sure the terms are exactly as they've agreed upon. We can make any revisions and any changes you request, and those can be mutually requested changes and revisions as long as it is not something contrary to the law or something bizarre. We are happy to do it and redraft these things. Remember, uncontested divorce is not meant to punish either spouse. It is meant to find a way, even if creatively and constructively, for each spouse to walk away from the marriage with the ability to be financially self-supportive, with the ability to have somewhere to live, with the ability to pay all of their debts, and with the ability to manage their finances so they're not in financial ruin as soon as these things happen. So an uncontested divorce presents an opportunity where you can have a pretty extraordinary outcome. It may not be something that either you or your spouse says, man, I really kicked their ass in this one. Oh yeah, I totally dominated them. I can't believe it. What a great outcome. The outcome is not intended to be punitive. The outcome is not intended to have one person with some lopsided superior outcome versus the other. In an uncontested divorce, that is not the spirit of it. That is not the intent of it. But what you can do is pay a much lower attorney fee at a flat rate, one time, have all of your documents drafted, all of your documents revised and perfected, and then you can have a firm such as Jacob's Law Firm file your documents, handle the final judgment process, and guide you through until your case is finalized. And at that time, we're not encouraging you to fight. Do we tell you your legal rights and responsibilities? Of course. We're not encouraging you to fight or go take more or demand this or demand that, because it is not our divorce. Our role is to make sure that everything is as perfected as possible, as smooth as possible, as professionally drafted and as professionally managed as possible. But it is not to litigate, it is not to convince you to litigate, and it is not to throw your case into chaos. Rather, it is to try to move mountains to help you resolve this thing through compromise and through an understanding that just because you want something doesn't mean it's the best outcome. There may be a mutual outcome where both parties can be satisfied or at least walk away without feeling as though they have lost something and they need to litigate and they need to fight for a year or 2 years and tens of thousands of dollars. Amicable divorce, uncontested divorce, may not be perfect, but it can be the more perfect outcome for you both. And if you have any confidence that your spouse is willing to negotiate and may be willing to resolve, present them reasonable terms, not lopsided terms. This is not a contract of adhesion. This is not a seesaw where you have to be lifted and they have to be lowered. This is your opportunity to resolve an entire marital dissolution without a fight, without massive legal expenses, and on terms that are mutually beneficial and not mutually destructive.